The NASCAR Xfinity Series heads to the Charlotte ROVAL for the cutoff race, and we see a pretty wild cutoff race with a usual winner picking up another road course victory. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to your video. I just got done watching NASCAR Xfinity Series race from the Charlotte ROVAL. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So, before the green flag dropped in today's race, some drivers would have to go to the rear of the field. Scott Heckard, Ryan Vargas, and Chris Wright would all have to go to the rear front approve adjustments, and Noah Gragson, who crashed in basic practice, would have to also start at the rear of the field. So at the start of the race, had A.J. Allmendinger lead the field from the inside, and Ty Gibbs on the outside, and A.J. Allmendinger was able to hold the race lead. There would be a couple incidents. Stage number one, Daniel Hemrick basically wrecked in turn number 3, basically got in turn number 5, was in third position at that time, and crashed into the inside wall really hard in turn number 5, but the grace would stay green. Meanwhile, while NBC was on the in-car camera for J.J. Ely, he would end up spinning in turn number 7 from 26th position, was able to continue on. The first caution race to come out lap number 10 for Chris Wright, who basically ran into the turn 1 barrier, lost his brakes, and ran into the wall really hard, and unfortunately fell out of the race, bringing out the caution. A little bit of strategy happened in this race where guys like Sage Karam, Noah Gragson, Scott Heckard, Joe Graf will come down pit road, while the rest leaders decided to stay out. So on the restart, A.J. Allmendinger lead the field from the inside, and Ty Gibbs on the outside, and A.J. would get a really strong run and is able to clear for the race lead. Then we would see Marco Andretti basically spin entering the backstretch a few laps later, but was able to continue on, just basically overdrove and wheel hop the corner, and he unfortunately would fall back a little farther than he was. He was running 25th at the time, making his Xfinity Series debut. He would have some issues. Then we would see Alex Bay basically get off the racetrack, basically got a sign stuck on his car, and then he had to come down pit road. And then we saw Sheldon Creed, Ryan Sieg, Brandon Jones, among others that came down pit road. Then a lap later, Justin Allgaier and Landon Cassill were battling really hard for 3rd and 4th on the front stretch. Going into turn number 4, they both collided with each other, ended up spinning out, and were able to, but the caution did not end up coming out. But as they're coming to the end of stage number 1, A.J. Allmendinger would dominate and win stage number 1 at the roll. All the drivers who had not pitted, who already pitted at the time, they basically would stay out, while the rest leaders, they would all come down pit road. Meanwhile, Austin Hill started complaining on pit road. They basically had to power hood up due to power steering issue. Then on the restart, Sage Karam lead the field from the inside with Noah Gragson on the outside. And we see Sheldon Creed get a really strong restart and get around him for the race lead. Meanwhile, a few laps later, Bailey Curry got spun by, Bailey Curry spun Brad Perez going into turn number 8, and Andy Lally had nowhere to go and got a ton of damage, basically taking Andy Lally pretty much out of contention, and Brad Perez got some damage as well. Meanwhile, we have a bunch of guys that start coming down pit road with 4 laps left in stage number 1. Guys like Noah Gragson, Allmendinger, Sage Karam, Alex Bay, and Landon Cassill would all come down pit road. Then the next lap, we see Sheldon Creed and Ty Gibbs. They both will come down pit road to get on the winning strategy, and Brandon Jones would end up getting the lead. And because he needed those points, he stayed out, and he would win stage number 2. On the next restart, because all the guys who had not pitted at the time, they would come down pit road. They'd be pretty far back. So basically, on the restart, all the guys stayed out. On the restart, you had Sheldon Creed lead the field from the inside with Ty Gibbs on the outside, and Sheldon Creed got the lead for a minute, and then Ty Gibbs got around to take the race lead. Meanwhile, Jeff Burton of lap later, he basically got spun from his teammate Anthony Alfredo going into turn number 6. Marco Andretti unfortunately had nowhere to go and would end up colliding into him, bringing out the caution. Unfortunately, because Marco was actually doing a pretty decent job of starting to drive back up to the field, and Marco just complained about his wrist maybe being messed up. Luckily, he seems to be okay. It's unfortunate for Marco. He's doing decent at the time, and unfortunately, he would fall out of the race. So on the restart, Ty Gibbs lead the field from the inside with Sheldon Creed on the outside, and we start seeing a lot of chaos happen in this lap. Preston Pardus got spun into some contact on the backstretch after contact with Kaz Grala. And then on the restart, Riley Herbst and James Davison had contact where James Davison basically ran into the back of Riley Herbst, and that would bring the caution out. And then we go back racing once again with Ty Gibbs leading the field from the inside with A.J. Allmendinger on the outside. And Ty Gibbs got a really strong restart and was able to clear for the race lead. Meanwhile, Riley Herbst basically spun after basically wheel hop a few laps later, basically wheel hop the corner and spun out, and then unfortunately had a flat tire, and unfortunately he would bring the caution out due to leaving a tire carcass on track. We'd have some guys basically come down pit road, guys like Landon Cassill, Jeremy Clements, Ryan Sieg, Maya Center, all came down pit road, tried to play the strategy game. On the restart, you have Ty Gibbs lead the field from the inside with A.J. Allmendinger on the outside. As they're going to turn number 2, Casgralla got spun by Landon Castle and brought us a big wreck that involved Patrick Gallagher, Riley Herbst, Ryan Vargas, Timmy Hill, Josh Wicke, and Brad Preswitt all end up getting collected. Meanwhile, on that same lap, Sage Karam got spun by Sheldon Creed, basically after contact for Noah Gragson, and basically Sheldon was not happy at Sage, but it really was not Sage Karam's fault. It was really Noah Gragson's, and unfortunately, Sheldon Creed would fall out of contention to win the race. And then with 6 laps to go, you had Ty Gibbs lead the field from the inside with Allmendinger on the outside, and Ty Gibbs will get a strong restart and was able to clear for the lead. Meanwhile, a few laps later with 4 laps to go, Sage Karam basically wrecked in turn number 6, basically just overdrove and overshot the corner and really ran into the inside of turn number 6. And then a lap later, the caution came out for damage from Justin Allgaier and Sage Karam. Then we get to the first overtime restart of the race where Ty Gibbs leading the field from the inside with Allmendinger on the outside, bumping and banging between the two going into turn number 1. They bumped and banged, and AJ got this really, really strong run and was able to clear Ty Gibbs for the race lead. Meanwhile, Riley Herbst basically got collided, I think, by Jeremy Clements, got really, really loose, and then hit the inside wall really, really hard, bringing out the caution, and unfortunately being eliminated from the playoffs and taking him out of contention. And then on the final restart of this race, you had AJ Allmendinger lead the field from the inside with Ty Gibbs on the outside, and AJ got a really strong run and was able to clear for the race lead. As they're going into turn number 6, we see Seven Parsons end up spinning, but everyone was able to avoid him, and the race would stay green. AJ pulled out about a half a second lead over Ty Gibbs, and it looked like Ty Gibbs was trying to close back up to get back around AJ, but it would not be enough. And coming off the final corner, AJ Allmendinger continues his domination at this track and picks up his 4th straight win at the Charlotte ROVAL, goes 4 in a row, and after a really awesome weekend announcing going full-time in Cup, he picks up his 2nd straight victory of the season, his 5th win in 2022, and picks up another road course victory. AJ Allmendinger is just incredible at road courses. Do I think he had the best car today? No, I think he had the 2nd best car. I think Ty did have generally the best car today, but he passed him late, got enough restarts to try to get back around him, and was able to go to victory lane. So congratulations, AJ, on picking up another road course victory. He'll be trying to sweep tomorrow in the NASCAR Cup Series race. He'll be looking to get it done. I think AJ absolutely will be a threat to go out there and win tomorrow as well. He'll be starting, I believe, in the top 10 or even 7th or 8th tomorrow. So he'll be looking to do well. Congratulations, AJ Allmendinger, on picking up the victory. So now, overall, talk about my thoughts on today's race and give you my score of today's race. So AJ Allmendinger picks up the victory. Ty Gibbs finished the 2nd. Great run from Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs basically had the best car, in my opinion, majority of the day, but got beat late. So a really good run from Ty Gibbs. So a lot of momentum going to next week at Las Vegas, where he'll be looking to go back-to-back at Las Vegas since he won there the last time we were here. Good run from Ty Gibbs. Noah Gragson gets a really strong 3rd-place finish. Noah Gragson has just been incredible these last 11 races. His average finish is like a 5th-place average finish, which is the best of everybody in the field right now. So Gragson continues a really strong run. How about James Davison finishing 4th? He was really quiet in the majority of the day, but near the end of the race, James Davison really came to life and had a really fast car and had fresh tires near the end. He just ran out of time to get up there and challenge the top 3 for the win. But so a really good run from James Davison. Justin Allgaier, very solid run in 5th place. He advances to the next round of the playoffs with a very, very solid run. Good run from Justin Allgaier. Alex Labbe finished 6th. Good run from Alex Labbe. Labbe had a sign on his car and still bounced back to the top 10 finish. Good run from Alex Labbe. Brandon Jones finishes 7th and does just enough to make it to the round of 8. Brandon Jones did pretty good today. Wasn't the best car, but had a pretty good day today and gets a very solid top 10. Josh Berry with a decent run, 8th place. Solid run from him. Ryan Sieg, who had fresh tires near the end, he gets up to 9th. Unfortunately, though, Ryan Sieg is officially eliminated from the playoffs pending post-race inspection. Tough rate for Ryan Sieg. He had a fast car this year. It's a shame he will not compete for a championship, as crew chief is going to be retiring at the end of the year, but he still does end up finishing in 9th. Landon Castle had a very solid top 10 finish. Solid run from Landon Castle. Sam Mayer finishes in 11th. Anthony Alfredo finishes in 12th. Mike Snyder finishes 13th. Jeremy Clements, unfortunately, also eliminated from the playoffs. He finishes in 14th. Danny Kvyat finishes 15th. Danny Kvyat had a hit-or-miss day. He was on pit road at one point in this race, was involved in a wreck, I think, at one point, and still finishes 15th of his NASCAR Xfinity Series debut. Solid run from Danny Kvyat. He finishes 15th. Sheldon Creed finishes 16th. Tough break for Sheldon Creed. I think Creed had a top 3 car, and I think he was the only car that really could challenge Ty Gibbs and AJ most of the day. He had a really fast car on this race. It's a shame he doesn't get the finish he deserves. It's kind of felt like that a lot this year for Sheldon Creed, where he should have finished higher than he did. But he still finished his 16th. Not a good run, but not a terrible run, but unfortunate run at the end of the day. Daniel Hemrick finished his 17th, unfortunately with his bad run in the crashing in the wall. That unfortunately takes Hemrick out of contention and eliminates him from the playoffs. Jeff Byrne finishes in 18th, J.J. Lee finishes in 19th, and Brandon Brown rounds out the top 20. Solid run for Brandon Brown. Preston Bartis, who spun out early, he finishes 21st. Scott Hecker finishes 22nd. Brad Press finishes 23rd. Ryan Vargas finishes 24th. By the way, good to see that Brad Press got a top 25. Seems like he's always consistent in these road course races, so good to see Brad Press do good. Seven Parsons, after getting spun out, finishes 25th. Tough break for him. He had a top 10 car a majority of the day. Doesn't get the finish he deserves, in my opinion. He finishes 25th. Bailey Curry finishes in 26th. Joe Graff Jr. finishes 27th. Timmy Hill finishes 28th. Austin Hill finishes 29th after power steering issues. Was top 5, got enough points to basically advance without any issues. He finishes 29th. Sage Karam, unfortunately, after getting some damage and wrecking out, after being a top 5 car really majority of the second half of the day, he unfortunately finishes in 30th. Tough break for him, but he's got a couple more races with this team. And he'll finish. I think he's going to run 2 of the last 4 races, so he'll be able to run this car more. Andy Lai finishes in 31st. Unfortunate break for him. Riley Herbst, after crashing out, he unfortunately is eliminated from the playoffs. He finishes 32nd. Patrick Gallagher finishes 33rd. Josh Wiggy finishes 34th. Kaz Grall finishes 35th. Marco Andretti finishes in 36th. Josh Williams finishes 37th. And then Chris Wright finishes last in 38th place. So now I'm going to talk about my thoughts on today's race and give you my score for today's race. This really was your typical NASCAR Xfinity road course race. Very calm in the beginning, not a lot of chaos in the beginning. And then near the end of the race, there was a lot of chaos and a lot of drama. And really, I will say NBC did a really good job really putting an emphasis on the playoffs because it really kept you engaged. But I will say that the racing itself, it could have been a little bit better. It wasn't terrible by any stretch of imagination, but it absolutely could have been better today. But the playoff battle really kept you engaged. So I think it did help the race just a little bit more. My score on today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race, I'm going to give it overall a 7 out of 10. Want to see a little more in this race. Want to see a little more passing. I do feel like that we honestly should give AJ the last and first challenge because it seems like every time he finds his way up front in these races. But when you have the best road course racers qualifying up front, it's going to be really tough to beat them, and they're going to be really, really strong to beat. So a very solid race. Not great. 7 out of 10. Decent race in my opinion. Could have been better, but a 7 out of 10 is not a bad score for this race in my opinion. So anyway, that is near today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race review from the Charlotte ROVAL. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Notifications on so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links in the description below over that. And comment below your thoughts on today's race. What are your thoughts on today's race? Let me know below. Let me know your score in the comments below. And congratulate AJ Allmendinger on picking up the victory. Let me know in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, we're going to have the NASCAR Cup Series race review from the Charlotte ROVAL. And depending how the F1 race goes, you may be seeing an early morning Formula 1 race review before the NASCAR Cup Series race. And then on Monday, we will have a NASCAR news video dropping on the channel. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode. And I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.